The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Hi, everyone. It's Betty Ray, bringing you the Archangel Raphael. I'm so glad that you've joined us today, and I hope you'll have comments over in the comment section over here that I can answer for you, or Raphael can answer if I can't. And I hope that you're having a wonderful day. It's beautiful down here in Florida. It's probably over 60, almost 70 degrees. It's supposed to get even hotter. I'm so lucky to be here. The first time I came to Florida was to join a group of hookers. Yes, rug hookers. They were having a week-long gathering of wonderful artistic people. And I came from Michigan, drove all the way down, brought my rug, and we had such a good time. And that is what hookers do. They gather together and show off their beautiful rugs. You can go to my webpage, www.angelbettyray, and spelled A-N-D, Raphael, RAPHAEL.com. And you'll see some of the rugs that we have, that I have been inspired to hook. And so today we're going to talk about Mercury retrograde. I had a couple of other subjects in mind, but Mercury retrograde has been plaguing me lately, and just trying to get on the radio station today, I didn't have the right passcode, and we had to scramble around, and it just, it just takes my breath away to try and keep up with what works and what doesn't work in this wonderful world of computers. And when Mercury is retrograde, that's one of the first things that get attacked. So if you're working on something and it all seems to be going wrong, breathe through it and keep plugging away. Because this is a time for you to review, rework, rewind, and think again. And that's why Mercury comes around according to the divine plan on this planet. It's the way it's set up, so that we have a chance to reevaluate where we're going and where we've been. And so I hope that some of you are here to ask questions about it. But in the meantime, even though I am not an astrologer, I tried studying it and it just went in one ear and took a highway out the other one. And I think you've heard me tell this story before, that I really did study it. I tried to figure out the fire signs compared to the air signs, and I had little flashcards. And remember, I was a teacher, and I even have a master's degree. But do you think I could learn about astrology? Nothing stuck in this brain. But God had another plan. And Raphael said, with a smile on his face, "We want you empty-headed." And I cracked up, because what did that mean? That meant they didn't want me using my knowledge to speak to you. Raphael wanted me empty-headed so I could be clear channel for him to give me inspiration when people ask for help. So it's not Betty Ray who talks to you. It's me listening to an archangel to talk to you. And you know what? You can do that too. Yes, you really can. The secret is getting empty-headed. I should make that a chapter in his book, because we're still working on the book. We're still working on it. It's been done, but it's not the timing, because every time I try to get it published, something else comes up and I get stymied. So I figured it's all in the timing, and that's God's plan. So when you're having problems with something, a project you're trying to do, and you keep running into problems with this or that, or somebody doesn't show up, or somebody doesn't contribute to whatever they're supposed to do, take a slow, deep breath and relax and know God's got your back. The timing is in God's plan, not yours. And when you let go and quit trying to push at it to get what you want, then suddenly things start to flow. It's called trust. And we talked about this before, and it's still a very important thing to remember. When things don't go the way you want them to, trust that it is because you have asked for your highest and greatest good every day, every morning. I hope you thank God that your highest and greatest good is being made manifest this day. And then you trust that everything that goes wrong is for your highest and greatest good. I know that may seem a bit hard, but if you want to be joyful, and that's the key to health and longevity. And I remind you, I'm 86 years old, and I have been on this planet for a very long time, and they tell me I'll be around a while longer. But I have such joy because I've surrendered my will to God. I don't push it. When things don't go right, like this morning, we had all kinds of problems again trying to get on. I know it's probably the dark energy that does not want me to do these videos and radio shows. No, because people that come here can ask questions and get peace within their hearts and minds. And so we say to each of you, don't hesitate to ask questions, and don't hesitate to listen quietly with an uncluttered mind. But the next most important thing is joy in your heart, because you have to raise your energy vibrations, and those are your emotions. You have to raise them up out of doubt and anger and frustration and misinformation and doom and gloom. You cannot have the energy to meet the angelic energy to get a message. And that means that I guess you have to fake it until you make it. Because when you don't necessarily feel joyful, you have to pretend you are. And this is, again, I say it so many times, what Jesus meant when he said, unless you become as little children, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. And that's right within you. And that's joy. This is what people say when they come back from having a near-death experience where they were declared dead. Doctor declared them dead, and they came back. And when they came back, they said they didn't want to come back because they had gone to what we label as heaven. It's simply a dimension away from this physical world that has the dualities, positive, negative, up, down, right, wrong, right, left. We are human beings living on a planet of dualities. And we came as explorers sent by God to wear this spacesuit, our physical body, on this planet so we could survive on it for 86 years and discover so many wonderful things about the planet. I love watching videos about planet Earth. I love watching faraway places and seeing how beautiful this planet is. I love the fact that I've been guided to this house in Florida that has beautiful trees all around it and space in the back that I can put a medicine wheel. And even in my backyard, a labyrinth, a big labyrinth, so that it can become a meditation center. And so you each have a plan. You don't know it, your soul does. And that's why you got to tune in to your soul and your guardian angel, who's kind of the interpreter for your soul. Your soul can send you visions or abstract ideas, but it doesn't have words to communicate with you. It will try to use your vocabulary. Sometimes you will hear words, but most often you'll get the idea. And an idea is abstract. It just pops in, and it could take you 15 minutes to describe the idea. I had one this morning, that an idea to do something, and I thought it was remarkable. And I thanked God for it, because ideas come to me all the time. I've got so many projects going. So your artistic sense, you may not think you're artistic, but once you let go of your belief that what you're not, and your honest belief what you can be, wow, you open up energy that is beyond your imagination. Yes, ideas will come and you'll grab at them and you'll say, oh, wow, oh, this is great. Now, how do I do it? And then you step back and you say, okay, I'm open. I'm ready to do this. Just show me how to do it. And the next thing you know, another idea will pop and another idea will pop. And you follow those two ideas. And then you run into another problem and you don't know what to do next. So you back off again. You say, okay, I'm stuck. Show me where to go next. And believe it or not, you get another idea. When you trust it and you raise your emotional barometer out of doubt and hate and anger and frustration, raise it up to gratefulness and joyfulness. The answers pop. The ideas come in an instant, and you know where to go next. I've got so many projects, so many irons in the fire, as they say, that I'm itching to get at them, but I know I can only do one at a time. But the one that seems to be bugging me the most is, first of all, to get Raphael's book printed. So we're going to work on that even during Mercury retrograde, which means that this is the time to review and rewind and to have an examination of conscience and to look at projects from a different angle. It's a time to sit back, relax, let the ideas come. So, my dear friends, today, let's talk about joy. Let's talk about love and peace and harmony that you so desire in your heart. And you know what? You don't get it from outside yourself. You get it from inside you. When you let go of the disbelief that you are not good enough, when you let go of the disbelief that you are not artistic, when you let go of these negative things about who you are, then you can begin to be who you really are. And that is a co-creator with God. God sends you the ideas. It's you that says, oh, I can't do that, or I'm not an artist, or oh, I'm not good enough for that. I'm not a spiritual teacher like Betty Ray. Baloney, we're all spiritual teachers because we are learning about spirit. And when we share our discoveries, when we share the new knowledge that we've run into, and we want to kind of talk it through to see if it really fits, if it really is true, that's a good thing to do. But sometimes you have to find friends that are willing to explore other worlds, that are willing to explore new ideas. And that's what you come here to our channel to do. We're still waiting for comments from you. Please don't hesitate. We're ready to talk with you and hope that you are there ready to talk to us. So don't hesitate to ask a question. In the meantime, Betty Ray can keep right on chatting because Raphael will always give me something to talk about. And today we're talking about joy. Everybody wants to feel it. But sometimes you're in a situation where it's so filled with darkness and you don't see a way out. You don't see the light at the end of the tunnel and you don't know which way to go. That's when you call Betty Ray, and you do that by emailing her at angelbettyray@gmail.com, and we will talk with you. We had a friend, I call my clients friends, who emailed me that she'd had an amazing dream and would I help her interpret it. Well, it took me a while to get back to her because I was very, very busy, but I did set up a time when we could talk. And we did talk for quite a while because her dream was really interesting. And we had to take all of the symbols and take them apart and see what they might have meant and how they fit in with the message her angels were trying to give her, because that's what dreams are. They're messages from your angels. And so you need to keep a pencil and paper handy beside your bed. When you wake up with a dream, you turn on the light. And if you've got a spouse and you don't want to wake them up, then sneak out of bed with your little notebook, go in the bathroom, turn on the light, and shut the door. And write down as soon as you can what you saw, and as much detail as you can. Colors, descriptions of objects, impressions that you have, emotions that you felt, all of those things. We're giving you messages of how to be more comfortable in your skin and how to be joyful. So pay attention. Put that notebook beside your bed and say to your angels, okay, I'm willing to give this a try. And if I have a weird dream, I'm just going to email Betty Ray with that dream and ask her to help me. And I will be more than happy to do so, because this gives me joy to bring peace into your heart with your nightmares. And I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Probably the best dream I ever had was a nightmare. And I was up in an attic, one of those that the roof slants and you have to kind of crouch down. So there was no railing. So I came up the steps, came around, and I was like this, hunched over. And here was the drop off down the stairs right there. And I'm crouching down, and coming from the back of this attic was a rat the size of a cat. It was huge. And the rat was ready to charge at me and tear me to pieces. And I grabbed a stick and I held it off with the stick, but it kept coming at me. And I kept holding it off, and it would get the stick in its mouth and shake it out. And I would grab at it again. Finally, I stuck the stick in its eye. Ew, it was awful. And then I turned and I ran down the stairs and I yelled, get out, get out. And I was in a car sales room with big, huge windows all the way around and not a single car. And I thought, wow, this ought to be interesting. But I was still feeling so shaky emotionally that I didn't want to get out of underneath my covers and go into the bathroom and turn on the light, because I was with my husband then. But I did. And how I do, I talk to the things in my dream. I learned this from Dusty Bunker. Look it up. She talks about dreams and how to interpret them. And she says, have a conversation with your dreams. So I had a conversation with the rat. And I said, rat, why are you in my dream? You frightened me. And then I let my imagination, I didn't even think about it. It just came. I pretended I was the rat. And the rat said, I represent your fears. And of course they're frightening you. And I said, but why were you attacking me? And why did I stick that stick in your eye? It was so gross. And I'm stammering because this was so amazing. The rat actually answered and said, your fears are representative. That's what I represent. And yes, you are being disabled by your fears. In so many words, that's what he said. And so I said, but then why did I run down the stairs and yell, get out, get out? And the rat said, because you will get out this dream many times in the future. And I can't tell you how many times I've told this dream, because it was the most valuable and life-changing dream I ever had. My fears were freezing me in place, disabling me, immobilizing me, and I couldn't do anything about it. And that's the way I felt about my marriage at the time. I couldn't do anything about it. I just had to suffer through it. Okay, good afternoon to you, Johnny. Thank you for joining us. Do you have any questions today? We were hoping to also hear from the person whose dream I interpreted. Her daughter was curious and loves to watch the videos. So I was hoping she would come along. And again, we are open for children as well. You see, children can get these ideas a lot easier than us old people, because we get set in our ways about what's truth and what's fiction. And this is when I tell people to act as if until it really happens. I've had one person say, but that's lying to yourself because it isn't that. But that's where you are acting like an adult that has put up barriers to ideas from your angels. Because your angels are telling you you're a co creator with God. And whatever you believe and hold as truth and joy in your heart, you can create. Think about it. You can create it. And so, what do you want to create? Oh, yeah, you want to win the lottery. Forget that. Just get that out of your mind. If it were meant for you to do, you'd be the millionaire already. And just look at some of the stories of the people that won the lottery. It wasn't a very happy story. And they wished it had never happened. A lot of them have said that. So, in this time with Mercury retrograde, don't let the negativity or the darkness cloud your mind is what you cannot do. Do not put barriers in your path. Throw them away and keep on going in the direction that you are inspired to go. If you got an idea, pull it in, write it down. Have a book of ideas, a small book, just a small one that you can put in your purse or your pocket. And the ideas will eventually manifest when you give them energy, and it has to be the energy of joy. Now, people say, well, how I've done all of the stuff that they tell me to do to manifest prosperity and abundance, but nothing ever happens. Well, nothing ever happens because you didn't put the most important ingredient in that imagining, and that's joy. If you don't have the trust that God is going to give you exactly what you need, not what you think you need, but exactly what you need. And so when you look at your life with great thanksgiving and joy, you get more joy and you get more to be thankful for. So it isn't a matter of you trying to visualize that new car or that check you're going to get from the president. It's not you imagining that you can buy a new house, you can buy a new car when you haven't even got a job. I mean, let's be realistic here. God's got to work through this physical world. You have to manifest according to the way this world works. You can't snap your fingers and out of poof, you've got a genie that's going to answer every wish you have. It doesn't work that way. So how do we manifest? With joy. We say, thank you, God, that all my needs are met this day and every day of my life. And you say that with gratefulness and joy. And the next thing you know, you've got an idea of how to do something. And then when you actually trust, remember I used trust the last time. When you actually trust that the ideas you're given are meant for you to bring into the physical world. I know that's a lot to believe, but you're designed by God to be a co-creator, and the ideas that God sends you for something that should be in your life, it's up to you to say, okay, whatever you say, God, just show me how to do it. And then get quiet and wait for ideas to pop of what to do next. Now, I get all kinds of creative ideas, which is why this house has become such a haven and why the grounds have become so spiritual with the medicine wheel in the back now, a creek in the back giving the water flow through the yard. It's just a haven. And eventually people will find their way to me, and eventually some of them get down here to Florida and enjoy this place. But you create for yourself your safe haven. Make your house, make your house joyful. Have live plants and live flowers. And think about how you can make your house feel great. And that might mean it needs a good spring cleaning. It's a little early for spring, but you could start now. That means getting rid of stuff that you really don't care about anymore, giving it away. You can sell it, you can have a yard sale, but it's better if you just give it away because then you don't have an attachment to it to bring you something before you let go of it. Do you see what that does? You want a certain amount of money for that chair that you're going to give, that you're going to, I was going to say give away, but you don't want to give it away. You want something to compensate. And yet, if you called the nearest resale shop, like we've got lots of them here in Florida, I call them up and I say, I've got a couch I need to get rid of. And the interesting thing was, I bought the hide-a-bed couch from them. And I didn't have room for it in my new way of looking at my living room. So I said, come and get it. And they laughed and said, we often get resale stuff brought back. And that's wonderful. So you see, I save a lot of money by going to resale shops and finding things that I need. And it's fun. And I'm helping them as well. Okay. So any questions from anybody yet? I'm more than happy to help you and to answer your questions. But in the meantime, let's continue to talk about that very elusive imp that I call joy. I actually wrote a book, a little book, about that imp called joy. And I realized that I had to also look at what caused me to not be joyful. I had to look at what made me sad, what got me upset, what things in my life I needed to change to bring more light into it and more joy. You see, there is on this planet light and dark. There is an opposite of what anything there is. So if there's light, there's got to be darkness. And that's what all of us have to experience to be able to explore this planet as souls are created to explore this planet and find out everything we can about it before we're done with it. So our exploration now is going beyond what is physical and what is spiritual. And we're saying to you, trust and raising your consciousness out of fear and anxiety and hate and disbelief and trusting that you are safe, that God will take care of all of your needs, but you got to ask. And then you got to listen to what God gives you to make it happen. So again, I tell the quick story of how I found this house. First of all, I got the idea, snap, an idea comes. Move. It's like, say what? I love it where I am. I love this little house I've created in Brooksville. And I just kind of ignored it. But then it would come back again, not really the word, but the idea. You see, ideas are abstract, but you get it just in a snap. And I go, okay, I'll start looking. So I did. I looked in the little town of Brooksville and I couldn't find anything that was what I was supposed to be in. And then I went to the next town, Spring Hill, and I looked there and I couldn't find anything. They were rundown houses and they were still expecting $150,000. So that didn't work for me. And then a friend started looking with me and we came to Homosassa. And when we were there, we looked at a house and it wasn't what I was supposed to do it. But I suggested we go out a different way. It was like not a U because it didn't go out the same street. It went out a side street. And then I said, turn right. And then we got to Michigan Boulevard, and I'm from Michigan. And I laughed. I said, turn left. How did I know to do that? Because the idea popped in my head. So I just said, turn left. And there was this house on the right for sale. I don't know, it's probably on 3/4 of an acre of land. I didn't even know the creek was back there or the woods because I couldn't even get through it at the time. It was so dense. You couldn't walk through it. But here I am, 3.5 years later, almost 4 years later, and I've got the most beautiful place I could ever imagine. Little by little ideas to make it better. And then I happen to have a friend, a neighbor, who has been working on my gardens and charging me only such a little bit that I've been able to fix up my gardens and bring in flowers. We've had such fun doing that. It looks so beautiful. And he helped me create the medicine wheel in the back with rocks, strange looking rocks. They're got lava rocks or something. They got little potholes all through them. But they're rocks, big ones, small ones. We created the medicine wheel with the rocks that are on this particular property. Follow the ideas that you get. Even though they may sound stupid or they may seem like impossible, if you get an idea that's impossible, ask for more information. Okay, we haven't quite figured out how to do that, God. Please send me that message from an angel to know where to go next. So, joy is the ticket to creating what you desire. If you have any anxiety or any fear that what you desire you're not worthy of, or is just not going to happen, or they give you ideas that you don't like, and you have a right to say, I don't want to do that. But you have to keep saying, thank you. Thank you for helping me solve this problem, be it a money problem, be it a health problem. Sometimes health problems, and I think about my friend who has MS, and he's just stuck with it. And he's learning to deal with it by raising his consciousness into joy. And in doing so, he's an example to those who come to help him. He is bringing God's presence through his sense of joy. And so, if you're watching, I hope you will tune in and tell us how you do that. So, we've got, let's log in here, a private chat. How much time do we have now, Rebel? I'm looking at the clock and it looks like I have lots more time. So we've got, 20 minutes? All right. Let's talk about how to be joyful. The biggest thing you have to have is a sense of gratitude. When you are grateful for everything that comes in your life, when you're grateful for even a herniated disc that I experienced a year ago, that has haunted me ever since, has caused me a great deal of pain, and yet I still get around. I don't let that slow me down, and I don't let it put a dimmer on my joy light. And so whatever you're feeling, if it's a physical problem you're having, that is no excuse for not radiating the light of joy. And so we say, to be joyful is to have an attitude of gratitude, first off, and to see everything in your life as a gift, and to always be grateful by saying, thank you, God, for this or for that. And so I'm thanking you today for Mercury retrograde. Oh, God, help me. I bought a new printer because the other printer wasn't working, and I'm having problem getting it to connect with the Wi-Fi, so it's not working yet. And I probably never should have bought it during Mercury retrograde, but I'm not going to should on myself. I was inspired to do so. I went to Sam's Club to get the best deal I could get, and I bought the printer I needed. Now, it will work. Eventually, we will get it to work, and the fax machine will also work. Thank you, angels, for making that happen. And so when my remortgage people, which is something I've been going through, and it's been a real big job, all the paperwork they want this, they have to FedEx something because I didn't check a box I was supposed to check. And I said, can't you guys just check it? And they said, no, we'll FedEx it to you. You check it and send FedEx it back. I don't have to pay for the FedExing. They're at least doing that. But I was inspired to do it, to lower my payments monthly so that it'd be easier on my fixed income as a retired teacher. So I do have extra income as a teacher, but I'm still under the limit for getting for being able to get the checks that will come to help. So as you realize from that, I don't make all that much money. And so you may say, why are you not charging for your readings and stuff like that anymore? If you don't make that much money, I have to say, I make enough money to pay my bills and to live happily and comfortably. I don't need anything more. I don't need anything but the joy in my heart and this fact that I am a channel for the Archangel Raphael. And once you decide to be a channel for God, you will get the inspirations that will help you to do that. If you really want to be a channel, I see a little thing here and I'm trying to figure out what it is. Nope, I don't know. Okay. Um, so how do you be a channel? Was that a question I'm hearing? Okay, how do you be a channel? First of all, you say, I am open and receptive to new ideas. Can you do that? Let's say it. Thank you, God. I am open and receptive to your new ideas. And when you give them to me, help me to bring them into reality. So then you have that notebook because you're going to start getting ideas. And it might be to feng shui your house. So go look up feng shui, FENGSUSHUI. I think that's right. Look up books for the Chinese idea of energy movement in your home. And then make your home raise in consciousness so that you feel lighter. You don't feel heavy with a lot of dust or dirt or a lot of knickknacks or clutter. You get rid of the clutter. You take it in your car and dump it off at the nearest resale shop. And if you want to make a tax deduction, you can probably do that too. So take time to declutter your house. Now, I have a friend who doesn't have much to declutter because she is not into the physical world that much. Excuse me. Oh. I guess it's the season now that it's getting warmer when Florida has allergies. I never had allergies before. So I had to say, okay, this isn't a cold coming on. That blocked my ear. This is just being outside already today, and whatever is out there kind of clogs up my sinuses. So we deal with it. That's part of being a physical being in a physical world. And people have been asking me, well, what do you do to have such longevity? The ideas are coming, so I'm just putting them out there. Well, first of all, this is how God's planned my life. So what I tell you I do won't probably work for you, but some of it might. But the most important thing that I do is listen to what my body needs. And I am more of a holistic type person. I will try herbs and medicines that are natural, and I will avoid going to a doctor. I will never want to have them give me penicillin or any kind of antibiotic. Instead, I use Silver Biotics, and that's the brand name, Silver Biotics, that anytime I feel a cold coming on or any kind of malady, I will take a teaspoon of it 3 times a day, and it will just knock it out. So I haven't had to go to a doctor for anything. I have low blood pressure, so I don't have that problem. I have no weight problem. Well, for right now, I've got 5 pounds I could lose, but that's because I'm all cooped up and I'm not getting enough exercise. And I have no excuse for that either. But exercise is important because if I would go walk my labyrinth and walk back to the creek, I'd get enough exercise. And so I'm very, very grateful that at my age, I have a body that functions so well. And yet why is it? Because that's the divine plan for my life. That may not be the divine plan for your life. You may have had a disease like MS, my friend, that has it. You may have other problems. There's many different maladies out there, and you may have to be on medication. And one time I was doing a lecture, and I said, instead of meditation, I said medication. And I laughed once I caught myself. And I said, maybe if we meditated more, we wouldn't medicate as much. And I think that is true. If we're tuned in to our divine guidance, we know what to do, what our body needs. And we have to kind of know the difference between what our emotions need and what our physical body needs. For example, when I can't sleep at night, which is the story of my life, I will have a cup of tea and a piece of toast. Well, I really didn't need those extra calories, but it's soothing and it helps me to relax. And so I will do that, and sometimes I'm able to sleep. But I guess I don't need as much sleep. And they say the older you get, the less sleep you have. But I was just seeing on NBC, no, NPR, a man who was talking about sleep and how important it is and how it will cause this problem and that problem if you don't get enough sleep. And I kind of cocked my head and thought, I don't have those problems. I'm lucky if I get 4 hours sleep at night. And most of the time it might be 3 hours. And then I'll wake up, and then later I'll go back to sleep again with my sleepy time tea, extra sleepy time tea that helps me to relax and to be able to go to sleep. And it's natural. It has got chamomile in it and all of the herbs that will help you to relax. Now, part of the reason why I can't relax is because I've always got so many ideas. My brain won't shut up. And so, each of you are a chemistry set. And this chemistry set is unique to you. You have to figure out the formula to keep it healthy. And that means that you listen to what you need, and it comes through the angels, not through your emotional barometer. If you are eating because you need sweets and you need somebody to love you, you might crave sweets, can't even say it. But that's not always the reason why you need it. Sometimes you actually need it more than actually somebody would say. You have to be careful of diabetes, because it seems to be one of the prime diseases we have now. And but here again, pay attention to what your needs are. If you get a physical, you will pretty much be able to tell how healthy you are, what you need. I found out when I've had vertigo. This has been something that has been plaguing me. And so I called my healthcare provider, Isla, and asked her what was going on. And so she checked with her guides, and she said that I am dehydrated. And that was because I didn't have enough sodium in my body. I wasn't eating enough salt. Well, I never think to salt my food. And so she gave me a formula of having a pinch of salt in 3 ounces of, you put it on your tongue, you wash it down with 3 ounces of water. And then you do that every 15 minutes for an hour. A pinch of salt on your tongue, swallow it down with 3 ounces of water. And believe it or not, it helps stop the vertigo. But if you still continue not to have enough natural salt, now she recommended Himalayan red sea salt. Yeah, it's pink, it's not red. She recommended using that, not iodized salt, but this. And so I did, and the vertigo went away. But I didn't use salt normally, and it came back again. So my body at this point in time is craving sodium, and I can't get it in potato chips because that will put on pounds. And so I simply need to remember to use the Himalayan salt on my eggs in the breakfast and on my food, and I probably will be able to keep my body balanced. This is where you go to, and I really am going to give you my Isla, her address or her phone number or her email. That would be more what you do. It would be, so she is, let's look here. Because she doesn't charge very much either. Okay. Be patient. I'll get there. Here we go. There we go. All right. Maybe I'm not supposed to give it out because for some reason I can't find it. Huh. Hmm.
Betty, we have reached past the end of the program.
Isn't that interesting? I can't find it. Well, see, this is where I
Betty,
trust that the
Betty,
divine plan is working. And if I am not supposed to do this, then I won't find it.
Betty, we're past
So
time.
I'll ask her permission. There we go. But she's a miracle worker. And okay, I've got somebody. Johnny is saying, how can you do these things? Believing, listening, moving things around, being joyful. When the other person in your house is very negative, ooh, I know all about that. I lived 32 years with another person in the house who was very negative. And well, sometimes you have to.
Betty,
You're in the show.
we're out of time.
Okay, I'm glad to know that. Okay, you have to do the best you can. And sometimes you have to assert your authority over certain things. If you are living in a house that isn't your house, then they can say that and hold that over your head. But if you can convince them that by moving the furniture around in a certain way, the energy will be better. And this is where I suggest you get books from the library, if they're still open, on feng shui. So I don't know why it keeps doing that.
We're past time.
It keeps showing it over like that.
Betty, we're past time.
Anyway, find it on feng shui and convince the person that this is the best way to go. That it will lighten up the energy in the room, and then experiment with them and see if it doesn't. Crystals, are really good energy. Actually, mirrors are too. Beautiful pictures on the wall. Um, you can see, I'm going to raise it up here a bit. You can see how I have that lovely stained glass. And over here, I have that really pretty picture behind that is about a woman listening to little cherubs, which is given to me by my son because that's how he sees me doing these readings. And so when you have things like that and you have candles that you can light and you find beautiful things that you can pick up for nothing practically and make something out of it, creative ideas. So look up feng shui and it will give you all kinds of ideas. Another thing I've been inspired right now to tell you is to put something red in the southeast corner of your house and then put an icon or like a statue of Jesus or whatever your religious figure might be, right there, because that will bring prosperity and abundance to you. Red in the southeast corner of your house. How about that? Give it a try. See if it doesn't work. And try out new ideas with an open mind and a feeling that, okay, God, if I've been given the idea, I trust that I'm to play with it. And that's the attitude to have. Be as a child. Play with these ideas. And ones that work, fine. Yay. The ones that don't work, toss them out the window. And that's what I tell people when they get a reading from me with Raphael. If it fits, fine. If it doesn't, you can either put it up on the shelf until a later date where it may come true, or you can toss it out the window. It won't bother me at all. And so I say to you, don't hesitate to email us at angelbettyray@gmail.com and ask for just ask for talking to Raphael. And Johnny is saying, okay, how can you do these things believing, listening, moving things around when you're
Betty,
when the other person in your house is very negative? Well, you can kind of have a dividing part. You can say, okay, I'm going to be in charge of the energy in the house because I'm more sensitive to it than you are. You can be in charge of whatever. Give them a job. Okay, so and
Betty,
when I said this and talked about this person that was very negative in my house, Johnny says, I remember. And she's thanking me for the information that I'm getting.
Betty,
I'm so glad that you joined us today. But here's again, the most important thing is to have that sense of joy that no matter what kind of damper some other person may try to put on your joy, you just have to throw it off. And I remember my husband came home from work, and he
Betty.
actually I was going to have hamburgers, and he said, I had hamburgers for lunch, I don't want hamburgers. And he said it so angrily and so nastily that I just simply slammed the refrigerator door shut, walked over to the closet, put on my coat, and took myself out to dinner. And now I told this story before, and somebody said, well, why didn't you invite him along with you? And I said, okay, oh, we've got 5 minutes left. Okay, thank you, Rebel.
No, Betty.
I said,
Be-
I didn't want to take an angry man with me because he was so negative. It's time for me to go. And that's what they're telling me. Thank you, Rebel. Rebel is the engineer that runs this show. And thank you for being Johnny and any others that are listening but didn't make comments. Please come back again and check out our webpage. I'm actually going to do something on the webpage to bring it up to date. God bless all of you. See you. Take care. Don't forget to tell people about us and to subscribe. Bye for now.